All right, guys, today is the day. Today is the day that I am going to not be scared anymore and take a baby thrifting. And I know many of you guys are moms out there. You're like, oh, I do this all the time. I know, but I haven't. And I have a 4-month-old baby and she is squirmy and wiggly and, you know, just exactly what a 4-month-old needs to be. She just got some playtime on her piano mat, some tummy time. We're just trying to get a little energy out this morning. And then we're going to go hit up some thrift stores. Now, normally I like to thrift in LA. We all know this, but long drives require a little bit more planning, especially if I make her go stand around in thrift stores. So that's for another day. Today, it's just get into some thrift stores, try and see if I can find anything to resell in my town, and just experience being in a store, slowly walking through racks and see how she does. We'll see. I'm very anxious. I don't know. You guys can leave your comments below on if you guys were nervous to. I take her out all the time, but they're usually places I can leave and I'm not like, oh, I'm working. You know, like what if I get into a thrift store and I'm finding so much great stuff and she's going wild and then I'm like, oh, I gotta leave. And then someone snatches all the great stuff. And anyways, this is the concern I have and I'm being transparent because that is what I do here. But we're going to go thrifting. I'm going to take you along. Before I do that, I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat because I'm starving and I need a little fuel for this adventure. So this video is sponsored by Factor. Okay, this box came in last night. I'm so excited because Robert just took the last Factor meal from our fridge for lunch today. So I am excited to see what's in here. You guys know I'm obsessed with Factor. And while I unbox this, let me tell you a few reasons why. First off, postpartum. I made a lot of freezer meals. I also wanted some variety, and these kept us with a lot of variety. They have so many options to choose from, and they're also individual sized. So when Robert's going off to work and I'm here, we can have our own separate meals and we don't have to worry about choosing the same thing and then Tupperware and all of that stuff, which is great. Second, they deliver it right to my door. This showed up last night. It was sitting there. I'm just now getting a chance to unbox it. It's got little ice packs, so it's been good. But it just is so simple. I don't have to think about, you know, the meal prep and what vegetables to buy and what meats to buy and all of that. They just keep it simple. Okay, I have my 6 meals here. I'm so excited about all of them. I know Robert's gonna steal a couple, but that's fine. The one I'm gonna go for is it's a macaroni and shredded beef. I think it's Gouda macaroni and shredded beef, and there's green beans. I know, girlfriend, I'm excited too. And so it's balanced, it's healthy, makes me feel good. Anyways, I'm gonna warm this up and tell you about how you can try Factor as well. Okay, so baby girl wants to join me while I quickly warm this up in the microwave for 2 minutes. Factor has an expanded menu, which means they have over 80 rotating meals to choose from each week. They have also expanded the global cuisines, which include lots of Asian and Mediterranean options. And these are typically some of my favorite meals, so I love to see more of those. When you are ready to try Factor, you can head to factor75.com or click the link below and use COMMONTAGS FB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year. That's code COMMONTAGS FB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year. I just devoured my lunch. It was so delicious, might be my new favorite, but big thank you to Factor for sponsoring another video. Let's go thrifting. Okay, I'm starting strong with one of my favorite local thrifts. It's called Have a Heart, and they raise money for local dogs and cats that need to be rescued and adopted. It's actually, ironically, my old office building. Our real estate office used to be in this building, and then we moved. Our choice. And then this dog rescue came in. They had a location previous in another spot in town, but it's a good location and I really like their presentation of things. They work really hard. My only issue is they don't mark things down often enough. So I find stale items there all the time. And then their pricing is questionable, which is pretty common with like mom and pop thrift shops. I'm sure you guys know of some in your area that do that as well. This area used to be kind of like sweaters and jackets, and I'm browsing through and I'm like, this is not sweaters and jackets. It's kind of like pajamas. So I don't know. I'm just killing time trying to adjust to the environment. It's not super busy, but there are quite a few people inside the store. So I'm just keeping it chill with her, trying to just get her to maybe take a nap. At this point in time, we're just getting out of the car and she is needing a nap, but she's not like napping quite yet. We are 4 months. It's a regression. So that's where we're at. This is a brand that I've sold a number of times called Spencer Alexis. And I would call this a mature brand, kind of a lot of stuff that's like more for formal or semi-formal attire for a more mature crowd. And I feel like this audience that prices things at the store is that crowd. So they mark that up. I'm not surprised, but here's a Natural Life top. It's a silk top. It's a brand that I wear all the time. It's a size medium, but it's oversized. And I thought, oh, this would be cute for me this fall. And then I realized there's some snags, so I left that behind. Here is a Sundance kind of lightweight jacket. I love picking up Sundance for the right items. This is not one of those items. It's kind of a blah item, in my opinion. So I passed on that.
Yeah. I have a 1-month-old grandson, and it's like the little ones. Oh, can't get enough.
Yeah, she's 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so ironically, the first item I wanted to buy to resell, I was approached by a volunteer. Anyways, this is cool. This item, actually, I found quite a few comps between 50 and 75. I'll write the item type of item on the screen, but it looks like it's in decent shape, and they were only asking $5. So I definitely picked that up to resell. Here's some boots. This is the DV Dolce Vita brand. They were only asking $8 for these, and they look like they were in good shape, and they were actually my size. The DV, when it's on the brand, is usually kind of a lower tiered of the Dolce Vita. So I think it's like a Nordstrom Rack or something like that. It's not one of their high-end lines. And honestly, I thought the calf wouldn't fit me, so I decided to pass on that. I always find it funny when this store specifically prices these kind of like Pittsburgh Steelers, and they price them high. Like, I think this was priced $12. It is an XL. It is a sweatshirt that's like NFL based, but we are not in the Steelers area. We're very far from that. So why are they pricing that so high? Like, just price it to move for the random Steelers fan in the area. I love that they have this little room here. It's always for holidays. It's got Christmas. It's got Halloween. I wanted to browse because we don't have a lot of like festive holiday stuff. And Bryce is going to be able to experience some holidays with us together as a family, really for the first time or second time. Anyways, I was just kind of browsing things to see if there could be anything that we would want for our house, but I didn't really see anything that like was a showstopper. I was looking at this wrapping paper thinking, oh, that would be a good deal, but honestly, I'm a little far from Christmas at this point. So maybe I'll pop in there in, a month or two and see what they have. And then this is a store that raises money and tries to get dogs and cats adopted. Oh my gosh, this is like my torture area because they always have like the cutest dogs and cats, and I am an animal person, and it just tortures me that I can't take all of them home all the time. I'm not a huge little pup fan, but oh my goodness, like look at these cuties. And then there's some little puppies right here. They look like they're maybe a little bit bigger, maybe mid-sized pups, and they're snoozing. Oh my gosh, I love this store just because I get to usually see some dogs and cats. Here is Hilo Hattie. I think that's how you say it. These look like older tags. I've sold this brand a number of times, and these are 2 Hawaiian shirts for men. And they're asking $15 a piece, which is mind-boggling. Like, I like this store, and their pricing is just always insane to me. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high, whatever. Here's some AG jeans. Really crazy sizing, size 23. That's basically like a teenager or a teeny bopper. But they are new with tags. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. I'm not going to pick them up, but I want to see how they price it. And sure enough, I looked at their pricing and it was a little high. Now, mind you, they're looking at new with tags. Maybe they looked up the brand, but I don't know what it says, 18 or something like that. That's steep. That's steep. For my little town, no thank you. They always have this little area over here, and it's always these older kind of wedding or formal dresses that are not in style. And I feel like it's basically the women who volunteer there are always just like, oh, these look fancy, let's put them out. And no one was really shopping for that. So it's kind of wasted space in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. I found a few books for Bryce. She is finally snoozing. I don't know why my camera is backwards, but Three Little Pigs is one of them. I don't know this book. It's Art and Max. It looked hefty. It looked kind of pricey. I'll read it to her once. If it's great, we'll keep it. If not, we'll redonate it. Here's another one that I don't know anything about, but I figured I'd give it a shot. They're all marked at like $1.50. So yeah. Okay, so I'm really glad I found that cool jacket. In fact, when I was paying, this woman was like, oh, wow, you're getting a really great deal on this. Do you know this brand? And I was like, oh, no, I just thought it was good for winter coming up. And she's like, oh, it's a really expensive brand, and I can't believe we only are charging you $5. And I'm thinking, smart. I didn't say that. Anyways, I got a few books for her. I, in fact, actually had to go to the library, which is next to another thrift store, to take back some of her books, but also get a California Parks Pass. Our libraries allow you to take that for a couple weeks, and we are going out of town this weekend, and I might need it. So I'm gonna run into the library, take back some books, check that out, and then head to the next thrift store. So, okay, I went to the library, bought some used books, got a little library pass, but here is the nearby thrift. This is our, it's called the Hospital Guild. And they have this little like outdoor area that's usually pretty cheap. There were some books. I didn't really feel like, honestly, it was hot and I'm wearing her. I didn't want to stay outside very long. I just wanted to quickly browse through, but they've got this whole area in this shed that is usually pretty cheap. And I have found some decent stuff. So just going to take you through here. It is not air conditioned. Here we are. She's sleeping again, thankfully. But they usually have kind of an area for Halloween or Christmas, like holiday-esque. They've got DVDs. It's actually really well organized, in my opinion, for this area. And if it wasn't a hot day, I would spend more time out here. Here's some backpacks and bags on the right. Obviously, nothing I'm really looking for to resell unless I really thought something was interesting, but just browsing at this point, just walking around. I do like picking up games for Robert and I. We used to play a lot of games and we don't anymore, but I do kind of want to get back into it. And so I keep an eye out for those. Here is just like random home stuff. Again, I'm always keeping an eye out for stuff that we might be able to use, but then also if there's something that just stands out, like maybe I need to look this up. I don't have the best cell reception at this location, but occasionally I get a little pop. So if I need to, I might be able to find some service. Here are some electronics, kitchen utensils, that kind of stuff. Again, really well organized. I love these volunteer-based thrift stores because I just feel like while they don't turn over product often, they do keep things really neat and tidy. And then they have this huge book area. And honestly, this is going to be a great area for us to buy some books for her. But it was just hot. So I decided I'm going to pass. I'm going to come back on a cooler day, which next week it should be in the 70s. So maybe next week. It's right by the library. So we come to the library once a week. So this is like an easy store for us to go into once a week. And I just really like it here. I like it that they have this whole outdoor shed area, but then they also have the indoor area, which we will go into in a second. So yeah, nothing that we grabbed out here, but super friendly, and we'll be back. I will say, if you visit Tehachapi, this is one of our like cuter thrift stores. It's kind of an older building. It's downtown, so it's walking distance to a lot of our little like shops and stuff. But they are cash only here. And again, it's volunteer based. So they're not the fastest in rotating stuff. They don't have like the fullest racks, but they do their best. So they usually have some decent stuff up front just to kind of highlight. But I'm going to take a look. She's starting to get a little fussy. So over to the left, they usually have some new tag stuff. I usually pass on that because they always mark stuff up. But they always have sales every day on certain items. So like shorts, pants, and short sleeve t-shirts. They've always got like, they're all $1. So this is one of the best priced thrift stores in Tehachapi. I saw these pants and I kind of thought they looked like cool. Maybe cool was on my mind as far as like an outdoor brand, but this looked like Amazon pants. I was going over to sweaters and jackets because fall is coming. Fall is almost here. And it's a lot of mature brands, a lot of affordable brands, but occasionally I have found some pops here with some decent brands that are worth picking up, especially if I can pick them up for $1, $2, that type of thing. But I wasn't spotting anything, just an eclectic mix. And you can see if I can move my hangers that easily on racks, it's just not full. And it's because they like to chit chat here. They do not like to restock. I almost never see them restocking things, but Bryce was starting to get fussy. I was over in kind of the Halloween area, and honestly, it's a lot of bouncing with her today. Just trying to get her to calm down. I know with more practice, we will get better at this, and there will be certain days where it's just, we have to leave. We weren't finding much at the store, but I picked up a book. She loves books. She loves when I read to her. We do this all the time. And so I was just trying to calm her down a little bit. Wasn't working out too much in this area, so I'm not sure. She was just overstimulated. People were saying hello. I decided to go to the little kids area, which has more kids books and just more for her to look at, and a little bit quieter because it's kind of its own separate room. But again, this is something I just need to learn how to do by just getting out and doing it. I'm a huge advocate for taking her out and about, not being afraid to leave the house, not being afraid to have a crying baby at times, and just being able to walk away from situations. But I guess thrifting is my sacred space. I don't want to be an inconvenience because usually thrift stores are quiet. And I just need to get over that. I need to realize I've got a baby. She's okay. Sometimes she's going to get fussy, and we'll make do. And if I need to leave a store, I will leave. But at this point in time, I'm just distracting her. I'm trying to see if I can get her back. But I think she was hungry, so that's kind of where we're at. We're probably not going to stay long. All right. Are you tooting and polluting back there? Yeah, you're a happy girl. I know. Okay, so we just got here, and they're overflowing with stuff. But this little girl, I know. Tooting and polluting, right? That means one thing. That means a diaper change. All right, yeah, I know I'm being obnoxious, but of course, got to throw everything in on a short thrifting day adventure. So time to do a quick diaper change, and then we'll head in. All right, change that diaper. Everything is good to go. She's a happy baby. And walking up, I heard some people saying something like thunderstorms, so they were going to bring stuff inside. They felt a little frantic, but you have a lot of stuff outside to browse through, and I just didn't want to be in their way. So I didn't want to spend too much time outside. They also have kind of a garage area that's kind of usually marked down, and then they have the inside area. Really, this place doesn't have pricing, and it's probably my most frustrating thrift store locally, but they do get a lot of donations, and so sometimes I find some decent stuff. But here's the outside area, just hodgepodge. I was feeling a little overwhelmed, to be honest, just because, I didn't want her to get fussy again. Also, if there are thunderstorms coming in, I just felt like, okay, let me just dart back to the clothing really quick to see if I can find anything that's worthwhile. That is my primary focus as a reseller. That is where I'm comfortable. I do not need more stuff for the house, technically. So went back. Here is a Pendleton vest just hanging up. This is where they like mark stuff up. They'll hang stuff there that's like vintage Levi's or stuff. And anyways, it's one of my least favorite stores because one of the women that works there or volunteers there often, she always asks for so much money and you have to take it up to get the price. So it's just frustrating. But I didn't see any shoes. They sometimes have some decent shoes, sometimes decent boots that I can resell, and I just wasn't spotting any. So I always want to look at like jackets and sweaters. I decided to just browse some long sleeves. She was starting to get a little fussy. So again, bouncing a lot. That's the drill. But yeah, there were quite a few people. It's a smaller thrift store. It's kind of tight, like many are. So just trying to keep out of people's way and seeing if we can just get through the store, if I can kind of get through the racks, but wasn't finding much. So yeah. Okay, just a quick recap on what it was like to thrift with a baby for the first time, and also a quick update on my house since I got a cash offer and I shared that in my last video, and I thought I'd give you a quick update on the status of that. So baby girl, she was a great sport going thrifting. She did get a little fussy, and I wasn't expecting to find much, so that wasn't the thing. But I did learn that it's almost impossible to film inside of a store when you're wearing a baby because everyone wants to stare at you and come up to you. And so you can't really be like, on the down low with that. But she did pretty great. all things considered. But, you know, taking her in and out of a car seat for a few hours and in and out of stores for a few hours is just hard on her. And I just, you know, if I lived in LA where I had great thrift stores that's 10, 15, 20 minutes from me, I could see myself going into one thrift store with her for 30, 45 minutes one day and, you know, getting my thrifting in that way. But we don't have that luxury. LA is too far for me to do that. Just pop into a thrift. So I might pop in, if I'm already in LA, pop into one thrift with her, but I don't think I'm going to be doing multiple thrift stores in one day with her moving forward, because I just don't think it's fair to her. And, you know, she's moving around, she started rolling around, and I just think that she needs breaks from car seats and me wearing her and all of that. So it was a good adventure, a good try, but I think I'll save the thrifting for myself when I just need a break from home and without the baby. So, and then house update. So I got a cash offer, and it was a little less than asking, but I know the value of cash offers. I'm a real estate agent. I've been in a lot of escrows, and I decided, okay, if I'm going to accept this lower offer, then they need to do something in return for me. And I just want to see how they negotiate and how they handle a little negotiation, because when you open escrow as a seller, it's very hard to cancel escrow. And as a buyer, you could get to a place where they're asking for a lot of repairs or nickel and diming you for things. And I just wanted to see how they would respond to a little negotiation, because that's part of the process. And it also just seemed fair that if I was accepting a lower offer, that they should give something in return. Well, I countered verbally, and everyone was in agreement. We would do a 12-day inspection contingency, which is a little shorter than the 17-day normal. And we do a 17-day close. And that's because when there's not a lender involved, you can do a shorter close of escrow. And I thought, great, we'll have a shorter escrow. They'll get their inspections done quickly, and we'll get this wrapped up. So I put it in writing when they verbally agreed to it. And then the next day I got a call, and the agent just said, oh, well, you know, they're just concerned now because they talked to their inspector. You know, they have a friend that's an inspector in LA, and, you know, I don't know him. He's never done any inspections in Tehachapi, but, you know, they were asking him questions about foundation, and he was looking at pictures online, and, you know, he kind of is already thinking he's going to be asking for an engineer to come out for, you know, potential retaining walls and foundation concerns. And, you know, they just don't think they can do all of that in 12 days. And so, you know, they really would just like to keep it as is. And maybe we can have a shorter close of escrow, but they don't want to shorten the inspection contingency. And meanwhile, he also told me that he wasn't concerned about the inspection because he knows I'm a realtor and he knows the house is in tip-top shape, because I already know what to look for. Well, there were so many red flags in this conversation with him. First, you never tell a buyer that nothing's going to pop up on inspections, because every house, even new builds, have things that are found. An inspector should be finding a lot of things. I've been through so many inspections, new and pre-owned homes, and you would never tell a buyer to expect that nothing's going to be found. So that was very concerning, thinking, well, the inspector is going to find stuff, and now they're going to ask for a whole bunch of repairs or money for those repairs, which I'm not prepared to shell out a whole bunch of money with people that I've disclosed everything and then some. And they just asked for $10,000 off in the beginning. And then secondly, to have an inspector from out of the area look at photos and bring up concerns with people without even having done an inspection, it's a huge red flag to me, because I've had some canceled escrows with out of area inspectors. And while everyone has a right to hire the inspector they want and find someone they trust, these inspectors get paid per inspection. And I had one inspector, and he canceled 2 of my escrows because he brought up the word foundation. And my buyers at the time were very nervous about that. And they paid him for 3 inspections instead of just 1. And there, shockingly, was no foundation issues after those sellers had engineers come out after we canceled escrows. And so I have had, you know, it's a blessing and a curse to be a real estate agent and have so much experience with buyers and sellers. But I have learned that buyers who are not willing to give and take in the offer process tend to be very rough during escrow with requests for repairs. And I've also learned that out of area inspectors don't know this area, don't know the weather elements, don't know a lot of things. And they might be great inspectors, but they can make or break escrows. And the fact that foundation was already being thrown around without even seeing the property, huge red flag. Because I don't want to open up escrow with people who are going to cancel escrow, because then it makes the house look bad. And I don't deserve that, and the house doesn't deserve that. And so I decided to tell him, look, I'm withdrawing my seller counter offer, but if they want to move forward, they can have as many inspections as they want. They can have as long as they want. I'm just not going to take it off the market while they do that. If they have those inspections and they decide they want to move forward with the house in the condition that it's in, with the price that we agreed upon, then we can do that, but they need to have those inspections first. And it's going to still be on the market for other potential buyers. He was shocked by this, and he, I think, was getting pretty emotional about, he's looking at, oh, I'm about to lose $10,000 if I don't make this work. And, oh, it's just a few days. And why are you going to cancel, a great offer of great people? They're great people and they're serious and they're not going to walk away. And why are you going to cancel this over a few days? And, I think it's very hard he's an inexperienced agent, and he's admitted that to me, but I think it's very hard to explain to him, look, I've seen shocking things with buyers, and oftentimes I'm the one representing them. And long story not short, we're not moving forward with those cash buyers. And I have potentially a couple other interested people. I know, baby girl. But nothing in writing right now. So I'm just going to wait for the right buyer, and that might take a couple months, and I'm prepared for that. But, it's going to be the right person. It's going to be, it's going to work out when it needs to work out. So I know, baby girl, but I'm going to go play with her. Big thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check them out, and I'll see you in the next one. Hit the thumbs up. Right, baby girl? Yeah. And then subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.